Okay. I want to show you guys a couple of things, and then we're going to get started. We're going to do a Unit 5 and 6 review today. And I'll explain how you can earn extra credit. So I'm going to pull up your course. Give me just a second. So we have a special guest, Miss Dybala. She's another teacher at our school. Okay. Let me show you guys. Dun, 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 dun. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen and show you our home page and just point out a couple of things. We'll talk about this in just a second. Last week, when you guys are in the session, we talked about the Zero challenge, remember? And it's supposed to be by tomorrow, okay? If you send me a screenshot showing me that you do not have any overdue assignments, no zeros, you can either get 5 extra credit points, or if there is a test that you did not do well on, you can we can talk about how to do a retake of that as your prize for the challenge, okay? And if you need a little bit more time on that, let me know. Okay, I know we're trying to finish up a lot of things right now because we're at the end of our semester. Okay. The semester review is also available, but I'm planning to do it next Tuesday. But it's available as a recording as well if you want it. If you're done and you're ready to get it done, that's available too. Okay. Your semester test is due on March 4th. Okay, so we have a couple of weeks. We still have plenty of time to get ready for that. And you guys, if you're on track, Everett, I think you're saying you did your test yesterday. Is that right? Yeah, the Unit 6 test was scheduled for yesterday. So if you've done that, then you have a couple of weeks just to finish things out, get ready for your final and that kind of thing. Okay, so for today, we are going to do our Unit 5 and Unit 6 review together. Okay, remember our communication guidelines. You can use your webcam. Just make sure that everything on you and around you is appropriate. And make sure in the chat, oh, gotcha, bud. Make sure everything in the chat is appropriate. We're focused on the topic and we're kind, which you guys always do a great job of. Remember, you're not supposed to share personal information. If you guys want to hang out, you can go to the K-12 zone, and that's a fun place to go and talk and just kind of play around. And I am recording this, so if you are on your webcam, you will probably appear in the recording, just to give you a heads up on that. Okay. If you would like to earn extra credit, okay, for our review today, I want you to grab some paper and you're going to do these problems with me, okay? And when you're done, you can email, text, or Skype pictures of your work, okay? We've done this before, and you will earn extra credit, okay? Everett, Cameron, do you guys need to go get anything, or are you ready to go? Let me know in the chat if you're ready. And there are 15 or 16 problems. Thanks, Everett. Okay, Cameron. So you can kind of organize it however you want. It'll probably take more than one piece of paper. But I really wanted to make sure we go over all of the topics because Unit 5 and Unit 6, Unit 5 especially, is probably one of the toughest in this course. So I just wanted to make sure we kind of touched base on everything. Okay. So I'm going to show my work on the screen below the problem, okay, and you're going to do it on your paper. I am recording this, so if you feel like you need to go back at some point, it's being recorded so you could watch it later, or at the end, I'm happy to go back to one of the problems. Okay. But go ahead on your paper for number 1, write 1/2 parenthesis, which means multiplying, 5 times 3 minus 3 squared. Okay, we're going to work this one out. And then the other one is over here on the right-hand side. So we're going to work both out. And then we're going to decide, is one greater than the other, less than the other, or are they equal to each other? Okay, so remember that we have to follow our order of operations. And if you want to try this one ahead of me, you can go ahead and get started. I'm going to write PEMDAS down the side so that we remember our order of operations. And remember that multiplying and dividing, it's whichever comes first, left to right. Same with adding and subtracting. Okay. And I may have to go to the whiteboard to do both of these because it is kind of a small space. But I'm going to do this one first. So with our order of operations, we have to solve our parentheses first. And within the parentheses, we have to follow the order of operations as well. So inside my parentheses, I have to solve my exponents first. And I'm just going to kind of highlight as we go to show you what I'm doing. Okay, and actually, let's say we're going to do this first. So 3 to the second power is 3 times 3. And we know that that is 9. Okay, not 6. So just be careful with that. And then I'm going to rewrite everything. Sorry. Sometimes my 3's get caught. Okay, now inside my parentheses, okay, I'm done with my exponents. So I'm looking to see, do I have anything to multiply or divide? I do. Okay. And so now my next step is to multiply, which is 15. And then to finish out, I'm going to do 15 minus 9. Okay. So that would be my next step. And if you think about 15 minus 10 would be 5, but it's 1 less than that. Okay. So it's 6. And then we have to multiply 1/2 times 6. Okay, so you can either think of what is half of 6, or if you think about it like this. Sorry, I'm kind of going all over the place. I'm going to go back up now because I'm out of room down there. 1 times 6, 2 times 1, and 6 divided by 2. My final answer is 3. Okay. So that's the first side. The second side, I'm going to go to the whiteboard because I need some space. Let me know in the chat if you have this down and if you're ready to do the other. This one I know is taking a little bit. Some of these will be pretty quick. Some of these we're kind of doing some, we're having to show our work a lot. So it'll balance out though. Hey, Natasha. We are doing a Unit 5, Unit 6 review. And not only does it review those sections, but you can earn extra credit if you complete it with me on your own paper. And I'm recording this, so you'll be able to kind of go at your own. If you guys just want to listen right now, you could do that. Go back and complete it later. It's totally up to how you kind of learn best. So let me know when you're ready to do the other one. Cameron, are you ready, or are you just telling me you're going to tell me when you're ready? Cameron's ready. Everett, what about you? You good, Everett? Okay, thanks. Natasha, like I said, I can come back to this one. So why don't you start with us on the next part of number 1? No worries, Everett. Whatever you want to do, bud. Okay, so for this one, we're trying to figure out, is the answer going to be greater than 3, less than 3, or equal to 3? Because we're comparing those two expressions. So for this one, we need to solve for the number on top, solve for the number on bottom, and the very end we'll divide them. Okay, so I'm going to do the top right here. Again, we need to follow our order of operations. Okay. And I do have exponents. So 2 to the 4th power is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Okay, and that is going to be 16. So I have 11 times 4 minus 16. According to order of operations, I'm going to multiply before I subtract. So 44 minus 16. Okay. And that's going to give me the number on top. And that is 28. So that goes up here. Now I have to work out the bottom. So 20 minus 2. Sorry, it's a subtraction sign. Times 3. So I multiply before I subtract, which is 2 times 3 is 6. 20 minus 6 is 14. So 14 goes on the bottom. So my last thing is I'm dividing. Remember that bar means to divide. 28 divided by 14. You could think about 14 times what is 28, and it is 2. Okay, so what we're comparing for number 1 is the first expression's 3, the second expression is 2. So we're going to pick the correct comparison sign in just a second. Let me know when you have this down, and I'll go back. And if we don't get to every single problem, that's okay. I'll let you know if there's some that we can skip, and you can just write that on your paper. Just let me know when you're done writing. Cameron's ready. Everett, Natasha, let me know when you're ready to go back and choose our answer for number 1. Okay. Natasha, are you good? I'll come back to whatever you guys need at the end if you need a little bit more time. So I'm going to jump back over. Okay. So what we're comparing now we know, okay, the first expression was 3. Make that a little bolder. And the second was 2. 3 is greater than 2, so A would be the correct choice for that one. Okay. Any questions? So at the bottom, if you guys just want to put at the bottom 3 is greater than 2, like I did right here, that would be great for your answer. Okay. Okay, let's go on to number 2. What is the correct comparison? Okay, we have one more like this for the expressions, but there's another layer to this one. This time, they're not just giving us numerical expressions. They're giving us what's called algebraic expressions, and we have to plug in values. We're going to use substitution. Okay, so my first one is 2x squared divided by y plus 15. Okay, and I'm going to plug in the values of x and the values of y. So I'm going to say, okay, 2 not times x anymore. Okay, it's 2 times 5, and that is squared. Divided by not y anymore. Now I know that y equals 10. And then again, I'm adding 15. Okay. For the other one, x plus 3y, x is 5. Plug that in, plus, and instead of 3 times y, I know that it's 3 times 10. Okay. So I'm going to give you a minute to try these. And if you want to just kind of do it off to the side, you can. If you want to think about what's the next step, you can do that. Remember, again, we're following our order of operations. Okay. So I'm going to give you like 30 seconds to get started, and then we'll keep going over it. Okay. So for the blue expression over here on the left, I have to do my exponents first. So 5 to the second power is 5 times 5. So that turns into 2 times 25 divided by 10 plus 15. Okay, now I'm going to work left to right because with order of operations, if I have multiplication and division, I do whatever's first in the expression. So 2 times 25, sorry, I'm kind of squeezing this down here, is 50. Okay, so that's what I get next right there. 2 times 25 is 50. Divided by 10 would be next. Okay, and 50 divided by 10, that is 5. And 5 plus 15 is going to give me 20. So 20 is the answer to my first expression. Okay, for the second, over here on the right-hand side, the red, I am going to, I think I have to think about adding and multiplying. Well, m comes before a, so I multiply, and I get 35 as my answer. Okay, so how do these compare? 20 and 35. 35 is greater. So on your paper at the bottom of your work, just make sure that you have your final answer as well of 20 is less than 35, or you can think about it as 35 is greater than. The reason the answer is B is because we're comparing our first expression to the second. So we want our sign to reflect that. We want it to show that the second expression is greater. So think about that mouth. Okay, last week we kind of talked about Pac-Man a little bit. It wants to eat the bigger thing, so it should be opening toward the larger number. Let me know when you're ready in the chat. And I'm going to see, we may skip one or two. Keep on going. Let me know when you're ready. Cameron's ready. Everett, Natasha, let me know. Again, I can come back at the end if you need to finish something up. A good goal is to write with me. Thanks, Natasha. As I write, and then we'll kind of finish at the same time. Perfect. Okay, so let's see. I want to look at the next one. I'm kind of making a game time decision right now to see if we're going to do both. Okay, this is a good one. But I just want to talk about this one, so you don't have to work this one out. Okay. In fact, for number 3, go ahead and just write skip. But I do want to discuss it real quick. Okay. This kind of goes along with what we just went over, comparing two expressions, okay? So you have to decide with equations, these are equations because there is this equal sign, okay? So we have a value on the left and a value on the right. What we're trying to decide is, are they equivalent? Are they equal? If they are, then they are true equations. If they are not, then they're not true equations. So for instance, real quick, number 2 is not an equation, okay, if I were to have an equal sign there, because one side's greater than the other. So what you'd have to do is work out each one. Okay, 3 to the second power is 3 times 3. 2 to the third power is 2 times 2 times 2. On one side, you get 9. On the other side, you get 8. So A would not be, okay? And as for these over here, you would follow your order of operations, figure out the left side, figure out the right side, decide, did I get the same thing? Okay? So it's kind of reviewing that same idea, but now we're bringing in the word equation. Okay, let's do number 4. Okay. And go ahead and at the top of the problem, put 2x squared minus 8 equals 24. So what we have to figure out is what choice, A, B, or C, do we plug in and then get the answer of 24 when we follow the order of operations. Okay, so I have 2, 4, and 6. I'm going to just start with the first one, A. Okay, so it's going to be 2 times, instead of x, I'm plugging in 2 because that's what A says 2 should x should equal. And I have to follow the order of operations. I'm trying to figure out, does that equal 24? So exponents, 2 times 2 is 4. Okay, 2 times 4 is 8. And then 8 minus 8, does that give me 24? No, it does not. So it is not going to be choice A. Okay, so now let's try plugging in 4. So 2 times 4 squared minus 8. Okay, 4 times 4 is 16. Times 2 is 32 minus 8. Okay. Do we get 24? And we do. Okay. So it should be choice B, but we need to make sure. Okay. Let's see what we get if we plug in a 6. Change colors to blue. So 2 times 6 squared minus 8. Okay, we know 6 squared is 6 times 6, 36. 36 times 2 minus 8. 36 times 2 is 72. And if I take 8 away from that, I'm definitely not going to get 24, right? So it's not going to be C. So the correct answer is B. And at the very end of this one, I could say is not 24. Sorry, I'm squeezing that in. So let me know when you have that one. You guys are doing a great job. Cameron's ready. Natasha's ready. Thank you. Everett, let me know when you're ready. Perfect. Any questions? Let me know, guys, if you have questions along the way. Okay. I'm happy to go back and explain something. Okay, I want to do number 5. This is a good one because you are having to take a verbal sentence and make it an equation. Okay. So this says 9 less a number. That's kind of tricky. Okay. But it's going to look like this. 9 and you're taking away a number, we don't know what that is. So you could put in there, you could put X, just some type of variable. I like to use X. So 9 less a number is the same as, that's your clue to put an equal sign, 3. Okay. And good job, Everett. Thanks for trying it out. Yeah, that's a great idea. Everett tried it out in the chat, in the question box. If you guys want to try that, feel free. One thing that I always tell students is if your brain is having a hard time like putting things in the right order, have a magic number in your brain that you can plug in to think about. So 9 less 2, which we don't really talk that way, do we? But it's like saying 9 minus 2. Okay. If it had an extra word, this is why it's tricky. If it had the word than, we would actually switch it. Think about this. 9 less than 100, you would do 100 minus 9. So it really helps your brain if you plug an actual value in to think, okay, if I had to work this out, what would I do? Okay, this is all you have to do for number 5. Let's go to, we're going to skip number 6. So click or just write 6, skip. Okay. And I want to do a little bit of solving. Okay. So for number 7, put 7.9 equals 13.1 minus t. Okay, and we're using what's called related equations. Okay. And remember, with related equations, you have kind of like your fact family. So you have your subtraction and you have your additions. Okay. So how could we rearrange this so that we are solving for t? Okay, well, a couple of ways you could do it. You could say, oh, I could do addition and do t plus 7.9 equals 13.1, right? Or I could switch the order, 7.9 plus t. But that doesn't help us solve for t yet. So what I want to do is I want t to be by itself, and I'm going to subtract my other two numbers like this. Okay. So that allows me to solve for t. So go ahead and try that. 13.1 minus 7.9. Because of time, I'm going to do it on the side of my paper over here. But I'm going to give you like 30 seconds to try it. And again, this is another one, guys, where if you put in easier numbers to think about, it may help your brain kind of decide, okay, what would the related equations be for, you don't have to write this, but for example, what if I said 5 equals 10 minus t? Okay. Well, the fact family is 5 plus t or t plus 5. And then you can switch your 5 and your t and do 10 minus 5. That's what we're doing here. We're switching 7.9 and t to get our final answer. Okay, so do we agree with Cameron? 5.2, I do. Good job, Cameron. 13.1 minus 7.9 is 5.2. Very, very good. Okay. Any questions about that? We're going to do one more similar to this, but this is going to be with multiplication and division. And then we're going to move forward to some word problems because those are probably the trickiest things. Everybody good? Let me know if you're ready for the next one. We're going to go ahead and do number 8 next. Cameron's ready. Thanks for sticking with me, guys. I know this is longer than normal, but it is a great review as we finish out. Okay. Okay. Yay. Good job. Okay. And again, we're not going to do all of them, but I just want to touch on every little topic as much as we can. Okay. 9.6 divided by V equals 1.5. So my fact families are V times 1.5 equals 9.6. Okay. But then I can also, again, like the last one, I can switch these. And I can say, okay, 9.6 divided by 1.5 equals V. That's what's going to help me solve. Now, because of time, I am okay with you plugging that into a calculator. 9.6 divided by 1.5, I get, you guys see my camera, 6.4. So V equals, and that's supposed to be like an arrow, not a inequality sign. So V equals 6.4. Okay, so that's all you got to do for number 8. Let me know if you have any questions about that. We're going to go down and we're going to skip quite a few. We're going to go to 11. So for 9 and 10, you can say skip. And let's go to 11. That's going to begin our inequality stuff. Okay. Okay, I'm going to go on to 11. And I just want to show you that you can solve. We're solving inequalities the same way. Okay. 5 times something is less than 14 over 5. Now, the way I show you in my videos is I show you to use your inverse operations. So instead of 5 times x, we're dividing by 5 on both sides. Okay, so my 5's cancel. Now, the tricky thing about this one is I have fractions. So you have to think about keep, change, flip with fractions when you're dividing. Okay, you're having to go back in your memory and think, okay, when I learned how to divide fractions, what did I do? You're going to do 14 over 5 times 1 over 5. You're going to flip that second fraction. Okay. Give you a second to get there. And actually, I wrote an equal sign there, and that should be less than. Okay. 14 times 1 is 14. Sorry. Yikes. 5 times 5 is 25. So whatever our answer is, it has to be less than 14 over 25. Okay. Now look at our choices. We have 0. We're just going to plug in and see if this is a true statement. Well, that's a true statement, right? 0 is less because it would be left on the number line. What about 1? I'm going to do my whole numbers first. That's not a true statement, right? Because if I thought about graphing something, this is between 0 and 1 because it's not a whole. 25 over 25 would be a whole. So I don't want to pick D. Okay. For the others, you could get a common denominator. So 3/5. If I wanted to make that a 25, I would multiply by 5. So 15 over 25. Is that less than 14 over 25? No. 15 is bigger. And then 1/2. That's kind of hard. So with 1/2, think about half of 25 is 12.5. Okay, so 1/2 is less. So you're going to choose 1/2 and 0. And I don't have quite enough room, but just choose those and I'm good with it. Let me know when you're ready. Okay, Cameron's ready. We're only going to do a couple more. You guys are being troopers. Thank you. Oh, good. Okay. Let's see. I want to talk about this one, but all I want you to write on your paper for number 12 is that I want you to write speed limit is 65 miles per hour. That's what I want you to write, okay? Which inequality represents. So what I want you to decide is think about what's called a solution set. I want you to write 64, 65, 66, because that's one number below and one number above. Think about a speed limit. Is it okay to go 64? It is, right? You're not going to get a ticket for going a little lower. That's actually what they probably want you to do. Is it okay to go 65? Yes, but 65 or lower is what the speed limit means. We don't want to be going over that, right? So whatever your speed is has to be lower, less than, or equal to 65. So choice B is the correct answer. Does that make sense? Because if you're greater than 65, that's when you might get a ticket for your speed. That's kind of how I like students to think about it, is think about one below, one above, which one would be okay. If you think about something like a roller coaster ride, that's different, right? It might say 65 inches or taller. That's when you would want it to be greater than or equal to 65. But with a speed limit, we don't want to go over. Okay, does that make sense? Any questions about that? I know that's kind of hard to think about, especially because you guys don't drive. So it's not really an experience that you have very often. Let me know when you're ready for number 13. Okay, Cameron's ready. One more inequality question, and then we're going to do a couple of the graphing table questions, and then we'll be done. And then again, if you text me pictures or email me pictures of your work at the end or whenever you're done, you will earn extra credit. It's 5 extra credit points, which I know seems, I don't know if that seems like a lot or not, but it's like getting a free 100 on a quiz, which is nice. And you also get to review, which is great. Are we ready? Natasha, Everett, you guys good? Okay, great. Okay, last inequality one. All I want you to do, here's what I want you to put on your paper. I don't want you to draw that whole number line, but I do want you to do a graph. So do a little number line like this. In the middle, we're going to put the number that the circle's on. So we're going to put 3 here. We're going to do one number above and one number below. Okay. And then this graph is an open circle, so don't close it in, and it's shading to the left. So jot that down real quick. So what I want you to remember is that with inequalities, okay, open circle means either greater than or less than. So we don't want to choose C and we don't want to choose D because they have the greater than or equal to. That would be the closed circle. Okay, this one's open, which means they don't want to include 3. And what this is saying is that any value, we'll say G, okay, is going to be less than 3 because it's shaded towards the smaller numbers, right? It's shaded, and as it shades, it gets less. Now, the tricky thing about this one is the G's on the other side. So you have to think, okay, I want the mouth to be opening up to the 3. So what choice, A or B, has the mouth opening up to the 3? Do you guys see that it's choice A? All they did was they moved 3 to this side and G to this side, but if you switch your sides, you got to make sure your sign is still accurate. So this still says G is less than 3, or 3 is greater than G. So the right choice is A. Okay. Let me know when you're ready and we'll finish up. We're almost done. We're just going to do one more question, number 14. You guys ready for our last one? Okay, let me know if I need to go back. Okay, last one. You don't have to copy this, but we're going to talk about the relationship, and it says between time and earnings. Okay. So I want you to think about how does it change from 3 to 5? Okay. So as hours go up, right? It goes from 3 hours to 5 hours. Go up 3 to 5 hours. Earnings, sorry, squeezing that S in there, go up 36 to 60. Okay. Well, what you can figure out is, okay, hours goes up by 2. Earnings goes up by what? What's 36 to 60? 60 minus 36, 24. Okay. So 2 hours goes up $24. Well, what is that? $12 an hour. So put $12 an hour. Sorry, my handwriting's kind of crazy. Okay, do you guys see how I figured that out? I figured out, okay, 3 to 5 is 2 hours. 36 to 60 is $24. 2 hours and $24. That's $12 an hour. 24 divided by 2. Okay. That's all you got to write for number 14. If you have all of that and you're good to go, then you are done. Just make sure you send me pictures of your work for your extra credit. If you need me to go back to a question, let me know and I'll go back. Or if you need help with anything, let me know. Anybody have questions? Did a great job. You're welcome, Cameron. Natasha, Everett, do you guys have any questions or need anything? Okay. Thanks for being here today. You're welcome.